What's up, traders? Sandro O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is November 4th, 2021. Please go ahead and click that like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps that YouTube algorithm. Today, we're going to talk about the price action in the indices. We're going to go under the hood. We'll check out our sectors and style factors. We are starting to see some blow-off price action in these indices, so we're going to cover everything. We'll look at options order flow as well. Before we dive into all that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters. Last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades or anyone's trades for that matter. Always trade your own plan. All right, let's dive in, team. Box scores for today. We had the S&P 500 finishing up 0.47%. We have the NASDAQ QQQ as our big winner today, finishing up 1.28%. We had these small caps after a huge day yesterday taking a bit of a breather, down 0.04%. And we have the Dow Jones trading down 0.06%. Very interesting. We had volatility rising in both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Keep in mind, this is not the end of the world, but when we're starting to see this really, crazy blow-off action, everyone's bullish, things are running, and then you start to see the VIX rising with those, that's definitely a yellow flag in my book. So just something to keep in mind. And then also, another yellow flag for me in my process here is breadth was negative. So overall, even though the NASDAQ was up, S&P 500 was up, overall, today was a market sell-off. And the reason why I know that is because the IWM, the small caps, this is where most of the stocks in the market are. We only had 40% advancers. Dow Jones only 47%. Even in the S&P 500, we only had 43% advancers. NASDAQ QQQ had the best breadth with 64% advancers. All right, let's dive in. You can see on this heat map, we had Nvidia up 12%. We had Qualcomm up over 12%. AMD up over 5%. The semiconductors really pulled a lot of the weight today in the market. And then, of course, we had Tesla, just never stops. Amazon up 2.75%. But other than that, we pretty much did have a sell-off in the market. All right, let's take a glance at our headline indices. Let's check these out. So S&P 500 extended away from this 5-day EMA. We've just had really nice price action in the market for the past month. This has been a great money-making opportunity. What I will say, word to the wise to everyone out there that's been trading this, no, you did not become a better trader over the last month. It's really just the market conditions changed. So I think this goes to show that, hey, it makes the most sense to be allocating your risk when you're in a strong market. I think we can all see when you're in a strong market, you can make a lot of money very quickly. And I think this is a good lesson also to, when you're not in a strong market, don't worry about allocating, to new trades every single day, because that once you're in one of these environments, you can make a lot of money. That being said, it's great that we're all making tons of money, but this is where you really have to start focusing on your risk management as the market gets really extended, as we start to see little mini divergences, such as a rising VIX with a rising S&P 500. Nothing too crazy here. This is still pretty benign in my book. It's important to think about, okay, what's my exit plan for this market? Am I moving my stops up? Little things like that, go a long way in making sure that you keep, a good portion of the profits that you're making now. One thing I don't want to see anyone do is, this happens pretty much every time the market goes up. You'll have a lot of players out there that, market is in a beautiful advance and you make a ton of money. And then once it turns, then you lose it all. So that's what I don't want to see for anyone. Yeah, right now pretty extended, but overall, really solid day for the S&P 500. We did hit this R2 pivot level of 46.74, spot 25, and that's pretty much right where we closed. So really, I think it makes sense. Should the market have a little breather here? Yeah, that's definitely what I would expect. NASDAQ, very strong price action today. You can see we're starting to go vertical in the NASDAQ, but we have a pivot level up here at, all the way up at 16,855. That's still a ways away. But in the NASDAQ, Nvidia was really showing, like, this to me looks like a blow off here. Nvidia, just huge volume coming into this thing after it already was extended and just rocketed this thing higher. And then another thing, the top was sold. So we closed at 298 and we were all the way up at 313. A really nice advance for Nvidia. But yeah, these are the kinds of things that I typically see, you know, not really at the beginning of a speculative run, like more so towards the end. Russell 2000 up 0.07% in the after hours. Yeah, Russell 2000, this one a little bit extended in the short term. When you look at the big picture on this weekly chart, you can see that we really just broke out of consolidation. And I did take some more targets on my IWM exposure while we were pretty close to the highs of the day today. So the best thing about taking targets into strength is that it keeps your equity curve moving up and to the right. If you're taking targets into strength rather than weakness, that means, you know, that you're going to have smaller drawdowns in your portfolio. Dow Jones not showing nearly as much relative strength anymore, down 0.14%. Dow Jones still in a nice little trend here, but this is not really where my focus is at the moment. All right, let's dig into our sectors and style factors, see what happened under the hood. Blockchain assets had a little bit of a dip today, down 0.28%. The semiconductors up 3.36%. This was really where all the alpha was today. You know, one of our members is heavily overweight the semiconductor, so very well done for him. Yeah, really nice move. Then we had consumer discretionary, also with a nice move up 1.35%. We have this technology fund up as well, but there were some areas of the market that were selling off. This MSOS cannabis sell-off just never ends, down 3.06%. At some point, I am going to buy leaps in that MSOS or this YOLO. So we had that. We had a sell-off in the European financials, down 2.05%. Chinese assets still selling off, down 2.47%. And up here you can see a little sell-off in biotech, a little sell-off in this little ARK fund. Overall, you know, pretty decent market. Style factors, we had the growth style factor of 1.1% and the quality style factor up 1.13%. Pretty much other than that, it was pretty weak though. You can see high div, low vol sold off. All the international style factors sold off. Cyclicals sold off as well. So yeah, definitely a mixed picture today. And then seasonality again, you know, we're right about here. We just exited the best seasonality of the year, these, you know, 5 days where the market really just rips. Now the seasonality gets a little bit choppier for the rest of November. That's another reason why I took a little bit of the risk out of my portfolio. I raised a nice cash buffer for myself. All right, let's go through my trader report card. So my report card today, I gave myself a 4 for preparation. Yesterday, you know, I was pretty sick, and today I'm feeling a lot better. I came in, you know, nice and early, got prepared, did my charting, did my analysis, all that good stuff. Gave myself a 4 out of 5. Stock selection, I gave myself a 3 out of 5. Now, I went after Qualcomm early this morning, and I think there were good reasons to do that. I saw, you know, nice volume coming in. They had a nice earnings report. You know, the reasons were definitely there, but Qualcomm really didn't do that much for me today. I think there were some other, you know, better stocks to go for. So I gave myself a 3 for stock selection. Then I gave myself a 4 for risk management. I did a pretty good job of taking targets into strength today and, you know, really just taking some of the risk out of my portfolio, you know, as the market just gets, you know, further and further extended. So let's take a look at some of my trades for today. I did do a lot of trading, so we're just going to go through some highlights. I do have one of my buddies coming to visit me today. So let's take a look. Let's look at the options trade. So I got long some Qualcomm 150 strike calls. This was right at the open for 10.15. Let's take a look at what Qualcomm did today. So Qualcomm, what I didn't like about this one was we had like a little advance within like the first 1 or 2 minutes of trading. And then this thing just took a dive and it was trading pretty much like below VWAP like all day. So to me that just shows, hey, there's more sellers than buyers now that this thing had its really nice earnings gap. And that to me is never what you want to see. You want to see like, you know, buyers coming in hot and heavy. But what was interesting is like Qualcomm was the one that reported good earnings, and like Nvidia was up, you know, just as much as Qualcomm today. It had a much better intraday performance. And then AMD, which I'm long this one, Pristine Capital Tactical Portfolio. This one was up 5.34%, also had a much better intraday performance than Qualcomm. So that one, I ended up closing out of that one, entered for 10.15, closed out at 7.05, you know, about an hour and a half later. And I just put stock did not do what I expected it to do. When the market's raging like this, I want to make sure to close those trades out as quickly as possible. Just make sure my losses are, you know, very muted. I closed out another 20% of my IWM calls. For 24.19, I had paid 12.84. Those are my January 219 calls. And this was a 3-star trade for me, a huge trade, and got pretty much a 100% return on this. I closed out the remaining 50% of my IWM 230 by 235 call spreads for $4. I had paid $157 for those. This was another 3-star trade for me. So this was about like a 150% return. So for me, I'm like, that is awesome. I'm going to book this. I don't want to get too greedy. Like, you know, I'm going to have to wait another 2 weeks to potentially make $1 more on the trade. I would rather roll it out or do something a little different with it. And then IWM ended up dipping after that. My Tesla trade, this one is going to expire worthless. This was a 1-star trade for me. I bought a put spread on Tesla. That one, of course, did not work. That was a very small trade. I got long. I closed out more of my IWM January calls. Closed those out for $22.24. I paid $12.84. Again, a 3-star position. I closed out my end phase calendar spread for a nice winner. Closed it out for $17.13. I paid $13.06. And then I closed out my AMC trade also for a decent winner. Closed it out for 52 cents. I paid 43 cents for it. So about like a 25% winner. And then closed out the remainder for 47 cents. So a bit of a smaller winner. I also took on some Apple December 17th 150 puts. And really this is just, you know, I wanted to put on some sort of hedge into this crazy market strength. Apple's been showing some relative weakness compared to some of these other mega caps. So you know what, I'll buy these puts on Apple. Apple closed a bit lower than where I entered. I also entered some SPY puts. And SPY, you know, it's not like there's really any sell signal here, but I just want to have something on the books, you know, for that inevitable, you know, when there's that little oopsie in the market. We just get even like a little mini pullback. You just threw that on as well. Now let's take a look. Common stock positions, I'll go through these real quick. Qualcomm, I took some common shares in the pre-market, closed those out for a very small winner. My MQ, I had a very small starter position, closed this one out for a loser. I put was going to add to this starter lower, but it looks like it might tag the 20-day, so I'm going to remove this position entirely. Again, this was just like a little baby starter. But yeah, this thing really just plummeted. You know, I entered it on this candle. Yeah, it looks like this one might have a date with the 20-day moving average. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert there. And this is really just like in the spirit of risk management. Hey, let me just get anything off the books that's really not working, you know, even if it's very small. And then I also shorted some Cloudflare common shares at $200.21. They reported earnings after the bell. At 4:23, I covered half of that short. I had 196.7. I had shorted it at 200.21. So made like a 1.5% gain, something like that. Very small. Let's see. I believe net was doing pretty well in the after hours after I closed that out. Yeah, right now we're trading at about 206. So this name is just so darn strong. You know, I'm curious to see if anyone sells any of it tomorrow. When I looked at the earnings report, the earnings were good, but the stock's doubled, you know, over the course of a month. So I'm pretty sure good earnings are priced in. So we'll have to see what this one does tomorrow. But I had a small short. You know, this is just a 1-star trade. I already closed out half of it for a small winner. So that's really just like a little scalp trade. Maybe I can make a couple bucks off of it. But overall, you know, by the end of the day, I had a much bigger cash balance than I started the day off with. just for prudence, like this has been a really good run. You know, I don't need to like just blaze it out into, you know, overextended highs or anything like that. Let's take a look at our options matrix. Let's see how I'm doing in my game. My portfolio is all crypto assets, so I might be slipping. Yeah, let's see. No way, I'm still in third place, and it ends tomorrow. I might win 300 bucks here. All right. Options matrix. Today's combined flows. Let's check it out. I'm sure Tesla's going to be like raging, and Nvidia also. Nvidia's like becoming the new Tesla. Wow, this was. Look at this. Nvidia took in. Oh my god. All these stocks took in ridiculous call premium. Look at this. So Tesla, $11 billion of premium. That's high. And then we have 3 more names that had over $2 billion of premium. And granted, you know, there might be puts in there as well. I'm sure it's not all calls, but yeah, it's just like a lot of options flow. AMD, top of our list. This BKKT has really been up there for the past like 2 weeks. And you can see Qualcomm's up there, IWM is up there as well. Let's check it out. We'll go to our matrix modes. Look at our tradescape. Yeah, we can see Tesla. Look at all those call buyers coming in. You know, Tesla is like overextended out the wazoo. But hey, it's a momentum trade. These momentum call buyers, you know, they're still going for it. So yeah. I don't really think the risk reward's that great anymore, but you never know. Maybe they keep just squeezing it higher. IWM, we did see a lot of call activity today on this little dip. So yeah, I saw the 247 strikes coming up for December. So that's pretty good. These are the 240 strikes for November, 235 strikes, 250 strikes for December. So yeah, it looks like they think this rally could still keep going. You know, at this point I've taken some targets on my small caps, but this could really still be the beginning of the breakout. Still holding some of my position, you know, just in case these really just start going. Yeah, these 250 strikes, you never know. I think the small caps, you know, they could still have a ways to go if the market, you know, just stays in this like speculative frenzy. BKKT, let's check it out. Yeah, everyone's loading up on calls. Let's see what that BKKT is doing. Okay, it's pulling back. And then Apple, let's check it out. Yeah, Apple all call flow. Yeah, it's this put to call ratio. When it comes out tonight, it's probably gonna be super low. Yeah, all calls for Qualcomm. Makes sense, they had good earnings. All calls for Facebook. All calls for Amazon. Jeez. So yeah, this, to me, like taking some targets into this, to me is just like prudent. So yeah, maybe it just keeps running, but you know, I've been doing this for long enough to see like when things start to look abnormal. This is definitely, to me, you know, starting to get there. And keep in mind, like when the greed is this crazy, yeah, all calls for Neo. You know, when the greed's this crazy, this is when you get really awesome money-making opportunities. But when it flips the other way, then it's sort of like, you know, well, everybody watch out, everybody head for the hills. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, that's our options flow for today. And that about does it for this market recap video for today. That being said, everyone have a great night. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.